rebooting our economy. There's the notion that I've most come across previously from the humanitarian sector of building back better. And of course, a lot of people after 2 years of intense disruption simply want to get back to normal, or even back to a new normal. So where do these metaphors really fall short? And why do we need the alternative of the idea of rescue?
Well, thanks very much, Paul and Arunjay, for hosting me, and Paul for what you've done with Marketing Kind. It sounds like an extraordinary idea that you're both taking on to help develop new forms of human consciousness and to create conscious leaders. And I'm delighted if this conversation that we're about to have can in any way support that, because that's certainly what we need. And I congratulate you on the initiative that you've taken. I think the language that that you've cited some of, like building back better, like reset, reboot, is really what scares me. Because when we reset or reboot our operating systems of our computers, which is what I think about when I hear the word, we go back to the system that's programmed in there before. It's that system which brought us the pandemic. It's that system which is bringing us rising inequality, the climate emergency, the bads. And it's that which will absolutely inevitably lead to a much more fractured, much more risky, much more uncertain, less cohesive future. And the same goes with some other language that's used. People talk about bouncing back, even bouncing forward. That implies we keeping on the same road, the same tracks that we're on. It's that road which is leading over a precipice. And so I don't want to bounce forward, go faster down this road, which is leading over a precipice. I think we need to think very differently. And we need to, as much as we desire a return to normality, and I do as much as all the other participants do and people around the world do, we need to deeply digest why we are where we are. And if we don't want this to happen again, if we want a more certain, more predictable, more cohesive world, a safer world for ourselves, for our children, a world where biodiversity can flourish and people can flourish, then we need to do things very differently. And I think we're at that inflection point, and that's why I wrote Rescue, because I feel it very strongly, that the danger is, and it's a danger which is amplified by our desire to slip back into this normalcy. The danger is that we think the pandemic's over, that's over, let's go back and party, let's go back and do the things we were before. And that's always the danger. So while this is still fresh, while we feel the scars of this pandemic, while it's in our consciousness, we need to make this decision, not to build back on shaky foundations. Build back better, yes, but you can't build back unless you completely restructure the foundations. Otherwise, the house will collapse again. The system will collapse again. We need to think quite fundamentally about why we are where we are and how we ensure we don't get back to the same place again. And that's what the book's about.